Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Morning Tea. I'm Ann Hunting with Sage Stone Malas, and I am here today with Nan Marshall from Sanctuary Design Studio. I met Nan years ago, and we've sort of stayed in touch throughout the years and watched each other's progress and as we, have sort of pursued our desires. And so I'm so excited to have Nan here with me because I feel like we've kind of been on these parallel journeys, and it's been so nice to see and witness yours. Anyway, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I'm so honored that you would ask me to join with you. And yeah, I'm super stoked. So this will be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
Nan, what do you have in your cup?
So I'm a huge fan of Rae Dunn, and I have like a million of her cups. And this morning what I have is a latte with 3 shots of espresso in it.
Whoa, you're gonna be set for the day.
Cheers.
Cheers. I've got a herbal tea in my mug from Twig on Main Street in Camrose. So
I love it.
Yeah. All right. So Nan is a mindful interior designer. And what I love about what Nan is doing is she's taking interior design and blending it with, state of mind and soul and spirit, and creating something that, feels really like you. But I'll let Nan tell you a little bit more about what she does. Nan, how did you come to this, first of all?
Yeah, so I've been in the interior design industry, I guess, for probably about 17 years now, which is horrifying, but also cool at the same time. And I actually started in design. I was an office manager and an assistant to one of the designers here in Edmonton. She's since retired, but I started there, and I have to say she wasn't very nice. So I would go with her and I would shadow her on appointments, and I would think, you know what, if she can do that, I think I might be kind of good at this thing. And I'd always loved color. I'd always loved doing my own rooms and that kind of thing, but didn't really think anything of it, really. So I kind of worked for a few different designers and worked for a few different agencies, and then I just decided that I wanted to try it on my own. So took the leap, and I've kind of gone back and forth. I've worked for different companies. I've gone back on my own. So I know that it's definitely my passion. So adding the mindfulness into it was just kind of the next step. So,
yeah. So talk to me more about that specifically. What kind of space are you interested in helping people to create?
So for me, getting mindfulness into interior design is so important for me. And I feel like there's not a lot of people that are doing it right now. And for me, there is a definite connection for our mind, our body, and our soul. And there is a direct reflection with that to our homes. And my thinking is that our souls really want a soft place to land at the end of the day. And we spend 90% of our time in our homes. So we really need to be focusing more on creating our very own sanctuary and doing that within our homes. It's where we start our day. It's where we end our day. So it's absolutely vital to our well-being that our homes can cradle us and just be there to support us as well. So long story to your question. No space is too big or small. I mean, it could be a tiny corner of a room. It could be the entire home. There's no space too big or small. So I think any space is something that I look forward to helping people with.
Yeah. I know for myself, I've never been what you'd call a tidy person, but I notice a huge difference in the way that I operate in my day when my space is is clear. It's, you know, uncluttered. It feels serene. It feels calming. And the way that that space plays into just my mood and the way my day goes is, you know, the correlation is undeniable for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's life-changing. And for me, a good example is when my car starts to get messy. I know there's a bunch of crap going on in my life because my car is messy. So, I mean, you know, messy mind, messy home. And it's a direct correlation between what's going on in your life and what's going on within your home as well. And it's great that you talk about the decluttering, because that's one of the very first steps before you design any space, is starting to declutter and get rid of the things that really aren't making you happy and sparking joy in your life either. So it's a really important component for the decluttering.
Yeah, absolutely. I've gone through a few, you know, especially in more recent years, through a few binges of stuff. And it is just mind blowing the amount of stuff when you actually focus in on what is making me happy, what is valuable here in a way that I'm using it, that I appreciate using it, that it, you know, adds value in some way to my home, and what is not. And then like basing it on that, how much stuff goes out the door each time I do this.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think we get so caught up on the emotional side of things. So we might get a piece from, you know, our aunt who said, like, I want to give this to you when I die, it's yours. And we get caught up on that emotional side of things where it might not make us happy. Mm-hmm. So what we need to do is take those pieces. We need to thank them for being a part of our life and bringing that memory up, because we always have the memory. We don't need the thing if it's not making us smile. So I think it's really important that we thank that piece for the memories it's brought us. Yeah. And then we let it go with love, knowing that someone else then is going to enjoy that piece in their home because it might really make them happy.
Exactly. Exactly. So do you find that most of the people that you deal with are, you know, at that stage of organizing their life, or are people, you know, more just looking to take the next step once they're there, then they're looking to like, okay, now how do I make this newly decluttered space more zen, more functional, more spiritual, or whatever they're looking for? Like, are they coming to you at the phase of, I don't know what the heck to do with all this crap and I need your help? Or is it phase two, or is it both?
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. So I do everything from helping people right at the stage where they've maybe purchased a new lot and they're building on that home, to people that are doing full-scale renovations, or they might just be looking at a bedroom or a living room. So it's kind of the full range. And I think it's super interesting to me because it's interesting to see the change. That's my favorite part, is seeing the beginning where it was full of crap maybe, you know, and then the end where they can breathe and they're happy and they're peaceful. And then it sparks them to want to get going for the rest of the house because they really can see the difference it's made. So yeah, I think it's all different ranges of people for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I always love to fast forward to the ends of those HGTV shows. Like, I just want to see before and after.
Yeah, it's true. HGTV is the biggest nightmare for any designer, I swear to God. Like, I almost wish that channel was gone because it's not real. Like, you know, there's so many steps that go into making those 1 hour programs that I think you get lulled into this sense of like, oh my God, we can start ripping walls down and we can start, you know, we can do it ourselves. Yeah, you can't. So, you know, it's like, they're great for ideas and they're great for that kind of thing, but I think they give people a false sense of they can just start ripping things out, and
Right.
and then they're in a mess, you know. So call someone before you do that.
Totally. And I've seen people sort of, you know, dive into projects like this and wind up with something that is, I mean, it's probably something that really brings them joy, but it's very, I don't know, like incohesive, I suppose.
Yes.
Is the word I'm
Yeah.
looking for. And for me, that would like not feel right, you know? I don't know.
Yeah. 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 It's really important to, I mean, design in general, I think, is just a very overwhelming experience for people.
Yes.
Which I think is why a lot of people don't spend the money, because they're like, you know what, we don't know where to start. We're just going to live in it the way it is. It's easier, you know, and there's a lot of bad experiences out there too. So, I mean, you want to work with someone who's going to listen to you. And for me, that is the single most important thing when you're looking for a designer, is to have someone that will actually listen to you. When I first meet with someone, it takes a good few hours and we just have coffee or wine and we just like hang out, you know, because I want to know everything about those people. I want to know, you know, why they're living in complete chaos. I want to know what's happening, because it all has to come together as one. And so you want to get the full picture. And yeah, it's when those rooms are not all in conjunction with the rest of the home, you really feel it. The energy is really messed up. So that's really important.
Yes. Yeah. So do you find that, you know, people's tastes are extremely varied? Like, I know for me, to create a Zen space, I need soft colors. I need like I need it to be very clear, very open, very like, you know, bright, lots of light. Like, these are things that are important to me. But I know that there are some people who really like bright colors, who feel, you know, invigorated by electric blue or what have you. So do you find that the effect of the design varies for each client, or are there common themes that you seem to come back to?
I think it's, there's so many trends out there, you know, that people like to follow. But for me, I personally, and it sounds crazy, but I don't love color. So I'm a very neutral, monochromatic girl, because I find that very soothing and very calming.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, I love to paint the house neutral and then bring in pops of color in your accessories or your furniture or your art or rugs or, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because if you're like me, you get really super tired of things very easily. So I don't want to spend $1 million painting my house every time I get tired of it. So with a neutral palette and a neutral background, then you can add your personality with different things. Like your red wall is wicked. So you obviously, that invigorates you, right? And it depends on the room too. So bedrooms, for example, you don't want something really bright because you walk in and you need to relax. You want to wind down at the end of the day. But for something like a family room or your office or something really powerful and energetic, those colors are great. So yeah, it's kind of, everybody is individual. And again, it's why it's so important to actually listen to your client and what they need.
Right, right. Now this red wall is I'm in Canmore, staying at the condo we've rented, so I didn't make that color choice. However, I have had a room that color before and it wasn't so bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people are just super drawn to color. And I think my aesthetic is opposite of that because I do get so bored. Right. So I like to make cushions or throws or candles or anything, like that's my color. Yeah. But some people thrive in those colors, and that's great. It's kind of whatever is going to make you happy at the end of the day, and not to base it on comparing it to the person next door. I mean, your friends might come on in and think like, what did you do to that wall? It doesn't matter though. They're not living there, so who cares? So we kind of have to get over that comparison and comparing ourselves to, you know, everybody else. That's your sanctuary. You have to live in it. So you have to create it the way it's going to make you happy.
Right. And I like what you said about being able to, like, if you have sort of a neutral color palette and your color is in your pillows and your rug and maybe some art on the wall, if you decide you want to change, it's not, you know, $3,000 worth of new furniture and etc. It's like, you know, a few $100s in just changing up those accessories and you have a whole new look.
Yeah, totally. And it's easy to do, you know, so I mean, thank God for HomeSense for that reason, because it's super easy and they change with the season. So if you're the type of person that likes to, you know, change it up with the different seasons, that's a great way of doing it.
Yeah.
And then having your main pieces be neutral, and then you don't have to change them out all the time.
Right. Yeah. So for somebody who, you know, one of our viewers at home, or maybe all of them, who might be looking for some tips on creating their own sanctuary, their own Zen space, whether that be, you know, in a corner of the house, like you said, or they're looking to just Zen out the entire space. What are some of your best tips?
So my favorite thing to do is if you're say designing a bedroom, I like to take everything out of the room, and it sounds like a big pain in the butt, and it is, there's no question, but it's the best way of just starting with a fresh slate.
Yeah.
So when I start with someone, what I like them to do is go and sit in that space, go and sit in the room. So I start with one space, because thinking about doing your entire home is super overwhelming, and most of the time it will shut you down. It'll just make you stop.
Right.
So say you're doing your bedroom, go sit in that bedroom, light some candles, open the window, get really comfortable, and really take the time to get very clear and very quiet, and figure out why that room is not feeling right. And I take notes, I journal. So it might smell weird. You might not like the sounds. You might not like the color. It's super important to get very clear on what is bugging you with that room. Then I get everything out of the room. So it's a process. So you're going to have to like take a weekend and do that. But don't rush it. It's really important. And it's something that you're creating your sacred space. So you want to take the time and give it the time it deserves. Then I go and I would say, look at all the pieces that you have. This is where kind of the decluttering comes in. So sit in your space, get very clear, decide what you don't like. Before you declutter, I'll just go back a bit. Then you really need to decide the feel that you want in that room.
Right.
Is it quiet? Is it exciting? Is it peaceful? Is it noisy? Get really clear as well on how that room is going to be used and how you want it to feel. Then I would look at some pictures. Get on good old Pinterest and see what you can find, you know, look through magazines, watch HTV. Get really good and clear on how you want that room to look and feel.
Yeah.
Get rid of everything. Put it in the hallway. Then go through all your pieces and actually physically hold each piece in your hand, or sit in the chair, or touch the dresser, and really think about for a few seconds, is this making me happy? Mm-hmm. Do I really want to keep this in this room? If you don't, donate it, sell it, just get rid of it. Mm-hmm. Thank it, get rid of it. Then the pieces that you really want to keep, start one by one, putting them in the room. And because everything has energy, each piece that you bring into the room will have a specific energy associated to it. So move it around. Don't put it in one space and just think, yeah, this is good enough. Move it until it feels really good. And I promise you that when that piece is in the right spot, it'll kind of feel like, oh, you know, it'll feel really good. And that's how you have to take each piece
Nan, that
and
is
put it back into the room.
I have to interrupt you there for a second. That is the exact way I describe to people about how to crystal grid, is that you're going to play with those stones.
Yes.
Until you have that moment. Literally, those are the words like right out of my mouth.
Yeah, like you want those angels to sing. I mean,
yes.
they gotta sing.
If you're going, click.
Yeah, if you're going, if it's going back in that room, it's got to be something that you absolutely love to look at every single day.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, and then just keep adding pieces. For me, I don't like a lot of clutter, and I find that really overwhelming. And I think for most people, once they've decluttered and they've gotten used to less stuff, it feels really good. That's not to say that it's got to be super minimal and stark and bare. It doesn't have to be that way at all. But you want to carefully place things too. Like if you're putting something on a dresser, that piece needs to, you know, there's got to be a reason you're putting it there. So it's really got to be a process when you start putting things back into the room.
Mm-hmm. I've also told people about crystal gridding, and I feel like it's so relevant here too, is that, you know, sometimes you'll really be drawn to the stones, to various stones when you're picking them out. But when you're actually putting them onto your piece, it maybe just doesn't jive with the energy of the other stones. And I know in my home, I've come to that point where I've got these, you know, several pieces of furniture that I really, really love. And I picked them because they bring me joy, but there's too many. And so it's like, it's having to sometimes let go of those things that even do bring you joy, with gratitude and with hoping that they'll, you know, bring the same joy to somebody else, just because it doesn't fit into the space in a way that feels good, right?
Yeah, and I think, you know, we're so, especially in Alberta, I don't know why, but we are so hung up on stuff. You know, it's like the more stuff you can get, the more successful you are, which is a bunch of junk.
Yeah.
So, you know, I hate that, and it makes me crazy, but I get it. I mean, I grew up with someone who was, she had stuff everywhere. My grandma had stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think it was, you know, the times they grew up in too, that, you know, the more stuff you had, the more successful you were.
Right.
And so, yeah, sometimes it's really hard to let go of those things.
Mm-hmm.
But like you say, I think if you can let them go with love and know that someone's going to love them just as much as you did, it kind of makes it a little bit easier to let it go too.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I totally interrupted your line of.
No, it's great.
We're talking about good tips.
That's great. No, that's great. The crystal grid thing is great. I love that.
Yeah. So, do you have anything else to offer as suggestions?
I think just, you know, if you listen to your gut, it's never wrong. And we all know that, but we go against it as much as we possibly can. So I think it's just, once you start doing it, it gets easier. Right. The first room or the first space is a little bit overwhelming, and you're kind of like, yeah, okay, this chick is like, there's something wrong with this whole plan, you know, but once you start to do it, it does get easier. And you know, I do think that it's important, not because I am one, but because it is important to have someone guiding you. By doing even just like an hour consult, we can get so much done in an hour. And the amount of money that you've spent on that is going to prevent you from thousands of dollars in mistakes you're going to make, because you are going to make them.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's worth it. And take your time to find the right designer that you're comfortable with. It's like a marriage, because we're going to like go a little bit deep. And I'm always between a couple, because one wants something and one wants another thing. So you do have to be a marriage counselor a lot of the time. And that's cool. But you got to take the time. You have to, your home is your sanctuary, and you have to, you have to give it the attention it deserves. It's so important to your whole life.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to say, I've been in Nan's presence, and she has the most loving, nurturing energy, and just, immediately feel just comfortable in her presence. And so I feel like she honestly would be so fantastic with just holding space for what you want, and actually seeing, not only, hearing through your words, but also sort of in an intuitive way, knowing exactly what you're trying to piece together. So yeah, if you're looking for any help with any of your design things, I definitely strongly recommend Nan. So Nan, how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so on Instagram, it's at the Sanctuary Design Studio. I'm also on Facebook now too, under Nan Marshall. And my website is thesanctuarydesign.com. So yeah, email me. My email's on there. My cell's on there. I'm just starting a blog now as well, so I'm going to be putting a lot of tips and different design things as well. So I'm super excited about that too. So yeah, bring it on.
All right, so I am putting all of those links down here. You can probably see them there now, of how to reach Nan. It'll also be in the comments if you want an easy clicking resource. Nan, what have you got something that you're offering right now for people? Are you doing distance work? Are you, building on your business? Like, what's going on for the Sanctuary Design?
Yeah, so I've kind of had a little bit of a rebrand in the last little while, so I'm super excited about that. I kind of have combined my meditation teachings, my mindfulness coaching, and everything all together, and I couldn't really figure out, something wasn't feeling right. But now it's all come together. I realized that I was doing all of those things to bring mindful design all together, so I'm super stoked about it. Yeah, I'm doing some distance stuff right now, which is really weird, but it's super fun because it's really cool to connect. I definitely am missing that one-on-one connection with people, with my clients and everything too. So yeah, I've been doing that. So I'd love to connect with you if you're struggling with a room or just a little area, or any design things that you're looking for. I'd love to. I'm more than happy to do that for sure.
Perfect. Nan, can you tell me something you're grateful for today before we sign off?
Whew, so many things. I am super grateful to you, Anne. We met such a long time ago, and I remember meeting you and thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be friends with this cool chick. And I am so honored that you would ask me to be on with you and be able to share my passion with everyone. And so I'm just super grateful for you today.
Oh, I'm so grateful that you agreed to do this and that you're available. I feel like I haven't seen you in too long, so it's an awesome opportunity to catch up.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Okay, everybody, on Friday, I have Nan Marshall. Unfortunately, we had to reschedule last week, so I'm excited to have her on. So tune in Friday. Nan, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, we'll see everybody. See you on Friday. Peace.
Thank you.